Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to Virtual University. I'm your course instructor for training and development, and we are meeting here today for the 28th session. As you would remember that we were discussing training methods. Within that, we had said that there are two types of training methods, traditional training methods and technology-based or non-traditional training methods. We were discussing the traditional training methods in which we had talked about presentation methods, and we were discussing the hands-on training methods. Within hands-on training methods, we had talked about on-the-job training, self-directed learning, simulations, apprenticeships, and now we are going to finalize our discussion about case studies. As you would remember that we had said that case studies are descriptions of events or situations which employees or organization faced and they solved it with some use of expertise. Case studies hands-on ट्रेनिंग मेथड में इंक्लूड किया जाता है, लेकिन केस स्टडीज एग्जैक्टली हैंड्स ऑन ट्रेनिंग मेथड नहीं है. हैंड्स ऑन का मतलब है समथिंग दैट यू डू योरसेल्फ, समथिंग दैट यू एक्सपीरियंस योरसेल्फ. Whereas case study is the description of an experience that has taken place by somebody else, that has been experienced by somebody else, and it is the description of that. But since the description is so elaborated and so detailed that we consider that it is actually an experience yourself, when you are looking at the experience in such a detailed manner, it becomes a hands-on experience yourself. That is why we include it in the hands-on training method. Although conceptually it may not fall exactly into that category. So we had said that case studies, they can be developed themselves. They can be developed by the organization. आप उनको खुद डिजाइन कर सकते हैं. हमने उन कुछ चंद स्टेप्स जो हैं वो देखे थे, गाइडलाइंस देखी थी कि किस तरह से केस स्टडी को डेवलप किया जाता है. लेकिन केस स्टडीज, ऑलरेडी डेवलप्ड केस स्टडीज भी यूज की जा सकती हैं अगर सिचुएशन मैच करती हो आपकी उस सिचुएशन से जो कि आप सिखाना चाहते हैं, जिसके बारे में आप बात करना चाहते हैं. तो केस स्टडीज, ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयर्ड केस स्टडीज भी यूज की जा सकती हैं. इसमें एक एग्जाम्पल जो है वो CIA की एग्जाम्पल है. CIA इज द इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसी ऑफ यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका, और उन्होंने केस स्टडी मेथड को अपनी ट्रेनिंग में इनकॉर्पोरेट करा है. उनकी ट्रेनिंग में तकरीबन 100 के करीब केसेस इस्तेमाल होते हैं जो कि पहले से प्रिपेयर किए गए हैं और जो कि ऐसी सिचुएशंस के बारे में हैं जो कि इंटेलिजेंस एजेंट्स को पेश आ सकती हैं. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, लीबियन अटैक का एक केस है जिसको यूज किया जाता है लीडरशिप स्किल्स सिखाने के लिए. उसके अलावा स्टैम्प केस है जो कि यूज किया जाता है बिजनेस या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के एथिक्स को डिफाइन करने के लिए, क्योंकि आपको पता है कि इंटेलिजेंस में एथिक्स जो हैं वो बड़े उनके ग्रे एरियाज होते हैं एथिक्स के, कि आप क्या एथिकली आपको करना चाहिए, मॉरली आपको क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. सो दैट इज अ केस दैट इज यूज्ड टू एलैबोरेट द एथिक्स ऑफ दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सो दे यूज अबाउट 100 cases in their training programs. 1/3 of these training cases are related to management skills, and the rest of them, they are used for skills that are related to their operations, such as counterintelligence or operations training and analysis of the situations. What CIA has realized and what they have found is that for cases to be credible, for them to be meaningful, and for the learning to be more effective, it is very important that the information that is provided in those cases is as authentic and as real as possible. जो लोग केसेस को सॉल्व कर रहे हैं, जो लोग केसेस के बारे में डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं, उन लोगों को ये पता होना चाहिए कि वो एक ऐसी सिचुएशन को एनालाइज कर रहे हैं जो कि एक्चुअली रियल थी. अगर ऐसा होगा तो उसमें एनालिसिस की इफेक्टिवनेस, उसमें लर्निंग की इफेक्टिवनेस सबसे ज्यादा होगी. सो इसलिए केसेस जो प्रेजेंट किए जाते हैं within their organization and as a rule as itself as well, that they should be as authentic and as real as possible. So what they do is that they use their own retired officers to write those cases. That the situations that were faced by those people exactly in their real life, those people, they write the cases. So this is an important aspect of using case studies for learning, is that the cases should be authentic and real, and the people who are using those case studies to learn analysis should know that this is real life situations. All right, so now we are going to discuss another hands-on method, which is very interesting for people who use it, for people who go through them. It is an interesting kind of method of learning. This method is called business games. Business games are being used much more commonly now to improve the learning of people, to improve the learning of organizational members. आपने फार्मविल तो जरूर खेली होगी इंटरनेट के ऊपर. दिस इज अ गेम विच एटलीस्ट एवरीबडी वुड हैव एटलीस्ट स्टार्टेड प्लेइंग इट. कितनी देर तक खेलते रहे हैं ये दैट इज अनदर क्वेश्चन, बट मेनी पीपल प्ले इट, हैव ट्राइड इट, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल हैव एक्चुअली गॉट एडिक्टेड टू इट. और उनको वो इतना कंपेलिंग गेम लगती है, इतना उनको एब्जॉर्ब कर लेती है कि एट टाइम्स दे डोंट थिंक अबाउट एनीथिंग एल्स एक्सेप्ट प्लेइंग दैट गेम, एंड देन दे स्पेंड मनी ओवर दैट, एक्चुअल रियल मनी ओवर दैट गेम एज वेल. सो फार्मविल आपको पता ही होगा सबको कि क्या किस किस्म की गेम है. उसमें आपके पास रिसोर्सेज होते हैं जिसको आपने यूज करके यू हैव टू क्रिएट अ फार्म, अ प्लेस, यू हैव गॉट टू क्रिएट a property of your own, and you have some resources and you can utilize those resources in many different ways. That is a very simple, basic kind of a business game that anybody can play. But specialized business games are also available on the internet for the public use. For example, एक गेम है जिसका नाम है लेमनेड मिलियनेयर, कि आप लेमनेड का स्टॉल लगा के मिलियनेयर कैसे बन सकते हैं. उसके अलावा कॉफी टाइकून, उसके अलावा कॉर्पोरेशन इनकॉर्पोरेटेड, उसके अलावा मैकडोनल्ड्स गेम, and many other different kind of games which are available on the internet, which you can play and learn the skills of a business. So these kind of business games, they are used to develop leadership and management skills in the trainees. They can be, there are companies who actually provide, consultancy firms who actually provide customized business games for specific kind of skills, for specific kind of organizational situations, and they are being used in training methods. Business games, they can be used as a traditional method of training where technology is not involved, जिसमें आप कंप्यूटर का टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल नहीं करते, और गेम जो है वो आपने विदाउट द यूज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी उसको प्ले करना है. और इसके अलावा टेक्नोलॉजी बेस्ड भी हो सकती हैं बिजनेस गेम्स, जिसमें जैसे हमने इंटरनेट बेस्ड बिजनेस गेम्स की बात की, फार्मविल की बात की, ये सब जो है ये टेक्नोलॉजी बेस्ड बिजनेस गेम्स हैं. So business games can be used to improve the leadership skills, management skills, decision-making skills of the trainees. The basic concept of a business game is that people learn when they are in competition with each other, or they are in competition with a specific time. So people know that they are working towards a particular target and they are competing against another person or against time. So that is something that makes them use all their capabilities, use all their potential, because they feel that they are in a competition. So the sense of competition is something that is the major component of using business games to make people learn. The features of or essential elements of a business game. Number one, it involves a contest among trainees or against an established criterion such as time or quantity. So ये तो एक पहली बात ये कि इसमें जो most essential component है वो ये कि contest है, competition है किसी दूसरे के साथ या against time और quantity कि आपने इतना achieve करना है या आपने इतने time में achieve करना है. So जब आपको ये एक आपके पास एक टारगेट होता है कि आपने कोई काम इतने टाइम में करना है या आपने एक सर्टेन क्वांटिटी को अचीव करना है, यू आर मोर मोटिवेटेड टू मूव टुवर्ड्स दैट टारगेट. देन अ बिजनेस गेम इज यूज्ड टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ और एप्लीकेशन ऑफ अ नॉलेज, स्किल और बिहेवियर. सो the essential component of a business game should be to improve a certain kind of a skill or to enhance a certain kind of a behavior. It's not that the business game is meaningless or it's just a competition. For example, आप लूडो खिलाने के लिए बिठा देंगे तो उससे कुछ नहीं लर्न करेंगे, क्योंकि उसमें कोई आपकी decision making skills, कोई आपकी leadership skills enhance नहीं हो रही हैं. It's just a मैटर ऑफ लक कि आपके डाइस के ऊपर कितने नंबर्स आ रहे हैं और आप कितना जल्दी उसको जीत जाते हैं. सो अ वेरी वेरी स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ डिसीजन मेकिंग इज यूज्ड इन प्लेइंग अ लूडो. सो द गेम शुड बी डेवलप्ड टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट सम काइंड ऑफ अ स्किल, some kind of an improvement in behavior or knowledge. Then it should provide several alternative courses of action and helps estimate the consequences of each alternative with some uncertainty. That there should be some alternatives, some choices that are available at every step. कि आपने decision करना है, आपने किसी बारे में choice करनी है और उस choice करके आपने आगे चलना है. For example, आपने resources को use करना है तो आपके पास अगर एक सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ मनी है तो आपने उसको किस जगह पे यूटिलाइज करना है, ये चॉइस और उसमें अनसर्टेनिटी कि आप किस जगह पे यूज करेंगे तो वो उसके क्या रिजल्ट्स होंगे, डेफिनेटली आपको नहीं पता होगा कि उसके क्या रिजल्ट्स होंगे. सो यू आर ट्राइंग टू मेक अ डिसीजन, यू आर ट्राइंग टू मेक अ जजमेंट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट यू हैव, बट यू आर नॉट श्योर दैट व्हाट दैट चॉइस इज गोइंग टू लीड टू. सो यू मस्ट नॉट नो what the result of your choice is going to be. And there should be several different choices that are available to you at different steps of that entire activity. So that is an essential element of a business game. Then rules limit participant behavior. That there must be rules that make a limit, that put a limit to your behavior, that these are the things that you can do, these are the decisions that you can take. For example, you can hire this much of people, you can lay off these many people, or you can use these much resources. If you want to use more resources, you have to go through this situation, and so on and so forth. So there must be rules that limit your behavior to a certain specification, to a certain limit. And then it should be simple enough and should be debriefed by a trainer to ensure learning and transfer of training. So that is also an essential component of a business game, that the trainer should provide a debriefing in which they should tell about what is the purpose of this game, what are the rules of this game, what is the time limit, and how are the participants going to proceed onwards with the activity. So before that, a debriefing should be given, and after the game has been completed by the participants, some provision should be made to make sure that there is some transfer of training as well. so that people, that whatever they have learned in that game, they must be able to use those skills, apply those skills to the actual work life. So transfer of training needs to be ensured as well. There are many different examples of organizations which use business games to improve the management and leadership skills of their organizational members. For example, University of Texas at Austin, they use a business game in their program of management. That business game is called Executive Challenge. And it is a 3-day game in which the students are divided into 3 different companies. So they play according to the rules that are provided to them, the resources that are given to them. They are given some resources, they can hire some people, and they have to manage those 3 companies. And they are competing for like $11,000 of prize money, and they are being observed by some of the top executive people from all over America. So this gives them a great opportunity to enhance and to showcase their leadership and management skills. And by doing so, they are also able to polish them and enhance them as well. So this business game, the Executive Challenge, is seen as a great opportunity, and it is seen as a really beneficial learning activity by the students of University of Texas. Then organizations, they are using board games. For example, आपने Monopoly का नाम तो सुना ही होगा. Monopoly is a board game which is used to teach you financial skills, how to manage money, how to make investments, how to make profits, and how to manage money. Everybody of you must have played Monopoly at some point in their life. So these kind of board games are being used to teach people financial skills, even if they are not working in the finance department, because one of the aspects of today's organizations is pay for performance, that you are being paid for the performance that you are making. So you have to understand the concept of money. You've got to understand the financial aspect of your performance. So in order to learn that, many organizations, they are using these kind of board games to teach financial skills to people, even if they are not working in the finance department. Then another organization, Harley-Davidson, you must have heard that name. It is one of the leading manufacturers of motorbikes in this world. They use business games to teach and help their dealers understand how to make money. Dealers are those people who are going to manage their dealerships in which their products are going to be sold actually to the front-end customer. So their dealerships they consider them to be their partners and help them understand the skills of making money. So what they do is that they make groups of about 15 to 35 people, and they go through about 5 rounds of simulations in which they are presented with situations in which they have to make investments, in which they have to buy products, and in which they have to interact with various customers. And during those 5 rounds of simulations, the facilitators, they can change the situations. वो सिचुएशन को बदल सकते हैं, वो उसी वक्त कोई ऐसा चेंज लेकर आ सकते हैं जो कि अनएंटिसिपेटेड है. फॉर एग्जांपल वो कोई ड्रास्टिक इवेंट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल उनकी डीलरशिप में आग लग गई है, या कोई रिसेशन की वजह से इंटरेस्ट रेट्स जो हैं वो बहुत नीचे चले गए हैं, या बहुत सारे लोग जो हैं वो कंपनी को, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को छोड़ के चले गए हैं. तो वो कुछ ऐसी सिचुएशंस बना सकते हैं जो कि अनएंटिसिपेटेड हैं, जिनके बारे में जो लोग गेम खेल रहे हैं उनको पता नहीं है कि क्या होने वाला है. सो दे कैन इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज द इंटरेस्ट रेट्स, और दे कैन स्टार्ट पीपल लीविंग द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, और दे कैन क्रिएट अ बैड इवेंट to put some kind of a pressure on those people who are playing in that business game. So during these 5 rounds of simulations, after each round, there are some lectures or some activities that are used to give them conceptual understanding of the situations that are being actually that they are being exposed to. So they understand things from the conceptual point of view, and then they actually play according to those situations that are given to them. So this is an example in which the company uses business games to help people learn skills that are actually not related to improving the performance of the organization itself, but they are people who are considered as partners of the organization, that if they will make money, Harley-Davidson will make money. So they help them, they facilitate them learn their business skills. So in these kind of games, the team members, what they learn is that how to coordinate with each other and how to listen to each other and how to think strategically. So their strategic skills are enhanced, their communication skills are enhanced, their business skills ultimately are enhanced. All right, so this was the discussion about business games. Now we are going to talk about another hands-on method, which is called role plays. Role plays, you must be knowing already that it means that you are going to act on somebody's role. So role plays require the trainees to act out characters assigned to them. रोल प्ले में आप क्या करते हैं कि आपको एक रोल दे दिया जाता है, एक कैरेक्टर दे दिया जाता है कि आपने इस कैरेक्टर को प्ले करना है. फॉर एग्जांपल, आपने कंपनी के सीईओ के तौर पे एक्ट करना है, या आपने कंपनी के मार्केटिंग मैनेजर के तौर पे एक्ट करना है, या आपने एक एंग्री कस्टमर के तौर पे एक्ट करना है. सो द बेटर यू आर एबल टू प्ले द रोल of the role play that is assigned to you, the better you are able to learn the skill of the person that you are playing the role for. The role plays, they are almost similar to simulations. Simulation में आपको याद होगा कि हम क्या करते हैं, simulation में जो actual situation है, जो actual equipment है, जो actual machinery है, जो कि आपने operate करनी है अपने जॉब के ऊपर, एग्जैक्टली वही चीज आपको प्रेजेंट की जाती है, एग्जैक्टली वही सिचुएशन, वही सर्कमस्टांसेस प्रेजेंट किए जाते हैं, और उन सर्कमस्टांसेस में यू एक्ट आउट द रोल दैट यू आर एक्चुअली गोइंग टू कैरी आउट इन योर वर्क लाइफ. सो सिमुलेशंस आर somewhat similar to role plays, but the difference between simulation and role plays is that simulations are usually used to teach specific kind of skills to the trainees, whereas role plays are used to teach the general kind of skills. If you would remember, हम जब बात कर रहे थे near transfer और far transfer की, तो simulations are based on the concept of near transfer, कि जो आपने सीखा है exactly वही आपने replicate करना है. Whereas role play is based on far transfer, कि जो आप सीख रहे हैं, एक आप general concept सीख रहे हैं, एक जर्नल आप सिचुएशंस को हैंडल करने के बारे में स्किल्स सीख रहे हैं, लेकिन वो दैट सिचुएशन में चेंज. फॉर एग्जांपल, सिमुलेशन जो है फ्लाइट पायलट्स की, उसमें एग्जैक्टली वही बिहेवियर्स फॉलो करने हैं, एग्जैक्टली वही प्रोटोकॉल फॉलो करना है, आपने वही स्टेप्स फॉलो करने हैं सो दैट यू कैन सक्सेसफुली फ्लाई अ प्लेन. बट अगर आपको कंपनी का सीईओ के तौर पे एक्ट करने के लिए रोल प्ले दिया जाएगा, उसमें आपने एक जर्नल स्किल यूज करनी है, एक जर्नल स्किल लर्न करनी है कि हाउ टू इफेक्टिवली लीड पीपल, हाउ टू इफेक्टिवली मैनेज पीपल, हाउ टू इफेक्टिवली मेक डिसीजंस. सो दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन फार ट्रांसफर कॉन्सेप्ट, whereas simulations, they are based on near transfer, exact replication of activities that are carried on in your work life. So that is the difference between simulation and role plays. So simulations, they differ from role plays on the basis of response choices available to the trainees, the level of detail of the situation given to the trainee, and the outcome of the trainee's response. So There are several different response choices in case of a role play. For example, if you're acting as the CEO of an organization, you have many different choices that you can choose from कि आपने एक situation में किस तरह से behave करना है, किसी बंदे से किस तरह से बात करनी है, कुछ decision को क्या weightage देनी है. Whereas simulation में response choices आपके पास limited होती हैं, यानी कि आपने एक specific response ही देना है, आपने एक plane को एक specific तरीके से ही उड़ाना है, उसको अगर आप follow नहीं करेंगे, you don't have a lot of response choices in a particular situation. So you've got to follow certain protocols. Then the detail of the situation, that is not so elaborated in role plays. That situation is not described in a very detailed manner. You are given the flexibility, you are given the freedom of understanding the situation on your own. Whereas in simulation, the situation is very detailed. The details of that situation, they are exactly designed according to the situation that is presented in the work life. So there is a lot of detail given to creating the situation, whereas in role plays, not that kind of detail is given to creating the situation. And finally, the outcome of the trainee's response, that is generalized in the role plays, whereas the outcome in simulations, that is very specific. For example, if you are not flying a plane accurately, the plane will go down. So the outcome is very clear that you have not done something correctly. Whereas in role plays, the outcome is not so very specified. It is more general. So you won't be able to get an answer whether you have played as a very effective CEO or not a very effective CEO. The outcome is going to be general, that yes, you played well, or no, you did not play very well. So the outcome of the responses, they will be general, whereas in simulations, the outcomes are very specific, very particular, very detailed. So that is the difference between a role play and simulation. Basically, the basic difference is that they are based on two different concepts. Simulations are based on near transfer, whereas role plays, they are based on far transfer. For a role play to be more effective, for a role play to have more learning effectiveness, it is very important that there are certain guidelines that must be followed to carry out a role play. The guidelines are very simple, but they need to be incorporated in that activity. First of all, the trainer or the facilitator that has to explain the purpose of the role play. Now, if you are not going to explain the purpose of a particular activity, what the people are going to learn from that, what is going to be the benefit of this activity, people are not going to be so serious about that kind of an activity, specifically when that activity is something that involves acting and it involves informal behavior, it involves a kind of atmosphere of informality. ऐसी सिचुएशन में मुश्किल होता है लोगों को ये अंडरस्टैंड करना कि ये एक सीरियस बिजनेस है, ये एक सीरियस एक्टिविटी है और इस एक्टिविटी को करने से आप कुछ सीखेंगे, कुछ लर्न करेंगे. सो जब एक ऐसा इनफॉर्मेलिटी वाला सिचुएशन, एक इनफॉर्मेलिटी वाली एटमॉस्फेयर बना हो, उसमें ये एक्सप्लेन करना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आपकी इस एक्टिविटी का मकसद क्या है. The second thing that a trainer should do is to explain the role play, to explain the character, what a person is going to perform, and what would be time allotted for each activity. So people should know that this is not an informal activity. This is not something that they shouldn't be taking seriously. They should be debriefed about everything that they are going to do, what is the purpose of that, what character they are going to play, what is going to be the detail of that character, and how much time is going to be allotted to each activity. Then the trainer must also monitor activity, monitor the role play while it is taking place. So, for example, if you give an activity in which one has to act as a customer services representative and another person has to act as an angry customer, unless you do not monitor that activity, they will not take the situation very seriously. So the trainer has to monitor that people are actually seriously playing out their characters and learning something out of that. And finally, at the end of the session, a debriefing should be given after the whole activity has taken place. So this was the discussion about role plays. Now we are going to talk about another hands-on method, which is called behavior modeling. Behavior modeling demonstrates key behaviors to replicate and provides trainees with the opportunity to practice the key behaviors. Basically, behavior modeling mein what happens is that the trainees, they are shown a particular behavior, they are shown a particular skill, how to carry out a specific procedure, how to carry out a conversation, how to interact with different kind of people. So any kind of behavior is first of all shown to the trainees, and then they are required to replicate that behavior and practice the skill that is being shown to them and that is required to learn in that training session. So behavior modeling is a kind of training which is based on the social learning theory. अगर आपको याद हो social learning theory में हमने क्या पढ़ा था, हमने बात की थी कि social learning में learning किस तरह से होती है. Learning, it takes place by observing others. Learning takes place when people see other people behaving in a certain manner, when people see other people doing certain things. So social learning takes place when people learn socially. So social learning के क्या components थे? एक तो ये कि people learn by observing other people. And the second component of social learning is vicarious reinforcement. What is vicarious reinforcement? Vicarious reinforcement is that people learn when they see that those who are displaying a particular behavior are getting reinforcement for that. So if somebody is behaving in a certain manner, somebody is showing good behavior, that is being reinforced, उसका कोई उसको reward मिल रहा है, उसका कोई उसको फायदा हो रहा है या कुछ काम करने का किसी को नुकसान हो रहा है, तो जो काम करने का फायदा हो रहा है वो काम replicate होगा, वो behavior replicate होगा, दूसरे भी उसी तरह करेंगे. जो काम करने का नुकसान हो रहा है लोग वो behavior show नहीं करेंगे. So social learning is based on these two principles, that people learn by observing others and on the basis of vicarious reinforcement. Behavior modeling जो training method है, that is more appropriate for teaching skills or behaviors rather than teaching specific information or teaching factual information. When you want people to learn specific information or specific concepts, behavior modeling is not an appropriate method of training. But where you want people to learn to carry out a specific procedure, or when you want people to learn behaviors or skills that are related to behavior, behavior modeling is a very effective method of teaching. So, जब आपको लोगों को सिखाना है कि communicate कैसे करना है, लोगों को information कैसे देनी है, या आपने कोई procedure कैसे carry out करना है, तो बिहेवियर मॉडलिंग की अप्रोच जो है वो बहुत इफेक्टिव हो सकती है. एक बिहेवियर मॉडलिंग अप्रोच हम बड़ी कॉमनली यूज करते हैं अपनी यूजुअल लाइफ में, खासतौर पे ख़वातीन अपनी ज़िंदगी में बिहेवियर मॉडलिंग को एक बड़ी स्पेसिफिक जगह पे यूज करते हैं, और वो है जो आप कुकिंग शोज देखते हैं. कुकिंग शोज में बिहेवियर मॉडलिंग के ऊपर बेस्ड है कि वो आपको एग्जैक्टली वो प्रोसीजर एक शेफ जो है वो करके दिखाता है, और आप को वो स्टेप्स और उसके इंग्रेडिएंट्स और सारे उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट्स जो हैं वो सारी आपको करके दिखाई जाती हैं. और उसका बीच में कॉन्सेप्ट ये है, क्या है वो, ये कि जब तक आप देखेंगे नहीं करते हुए, जब तक आप उस प्रोसीजर को होता हुआ नहीं देखेंगे, उस वक्त तक आपको उस प्रोसीजर के बारे में, उस प्रोसेस के बारे में उस तरह से समझ नहीं आएगी. सो अनलेस यू डोंट नो कि प्याज किस वक्त ब्राउन हो रहे हैं और प्याज ब्राउन होने का मतलब क्या है, उस वक्त तक आपको नहीं समझ आएगी कि प्याज ब्राउन होने का मतलब क्या है. So this is a kind of an example that is most commonly used in our society to understand the process of cooking. So when you are using behavior modeling and you are developing a behavior modeling program, there are some essential components of a well-prepared behavior modeling program. When you are designing a program of this type, what you should do is that you should start by identifying key behaviors. What are the key behaviors that are involved in carrying out the task? What is a key behavior? It is a set of behaviors that are necessary to complete a task. For example, अगर आपने यही कोई डिश बनानी है तो उसमें क्या क्या key behaviors हैं कि आपने वेजिटेबल्स को काटना है और आपने मीट को धोना है और आपने प्याज ब्राउन करने हैं और फिर आपने उसमें स्पाइसेस ऐड करने हैं और फिर आपने दम पे रख देना है. ये सब की बिहेवियर्स हैं जो जब तक आप शो नहीं करेंगे, जब तक आप इनकॉर्पोरेट नहीं करेंगे, उस वक्त तक आपका खाना ठीक से नहीं पक सकेगा. सो इसी तरह से अगर आपने किसी को कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स सिखानी है तो उसमें आपने कन्विंसिंग या नेगोशिएशन स्किल्स सिखानी है, तो उसमें क्या की बिहेवियर्स हैं, क्या बिहेवियर जो हैं वो यूटिलाइज किए जाने चाहिए टू कन्विंस पीपल टू बी असर्टिव. सो दोज की बिहेवियर्स शुड बी स्पेसिफाइड if they can be specified in that particular process. So the steps or the behaviors that must be followed in order to complete the task. So you have got to identify those key behaviors. The second thing that you need to observe is to see that which key behaviors are not being appropriately displayed or performed by the trainees. So you may not have to conduct an entire training program that takes into account all the key behaviors of a task. There may be some behaviors which are more deficient in your trainees, which need more attention. So you need to identify कि आपके trainees जो हैं वो कौन से काम हैं जो ठीक से कर रहे हैं और कौन से aspects को ठीक तरह से handle नहीं कर रहे. So you need to give more attention to the aspects that they are not handling well. Things that they are able to do appropriately at that certain point, those things, they don't need to be taught with that much of an attention. So अगर आप वही चीज दोबारा सिखाएंगे तो that would be replication or that would be wastage of time. So you must identify those skills or those behaviors which are deficient or which require more polishing. After you have identified those key behaviors that are deficient, you need to create a modeling display. Modeling display क्या होता है हम अभी बात करते हैं. So you need to create a modeling display, develop a modeling display. And then you have to provide, this is a very important component of behavior modeling, that you have to provide within the training program opportunities to practice. Because unless you don't provide opportunities to practice, the training, what they have seen, they will not be able to replicate that very accurately later on in their actual work life. So opportunities to practice must be provided within a behavior modeling program. And then you should try to ensure transfer of training by designing some kind of cues, by designing some kind of components in your training program so that training is transferred to the actual work life. What kind of cues or what kind of elements can be developed, that depends on each and every type of training activity. And we cannot actually specify that this must be done in order to ensure that training is actually transferred. That depends on what kind of activity it is, what kind of level of motivation there is within the people to actually transfer, how much they are self-directed, how much they are able to self-manage their own behaviors. So it's really very specific to a situation, what kind of provisions should be made in order to improve the transfer of training. So we cannot say that this is the guideline that you should actually follow in ensuring transfer of training. But since we have discussed transfer of training in an elaborate manner, you will have certain information, you will have certain hints, certain cues, certain guidelines to manage each kind of situation according to the requirement that is given to you at a particular time. Anyway, so we were talking about behavior modeling, and within that we said that you've got to develop an effective modeling display. Now, what is a modeling display? It is the key behaviors that the trainees will practice to develop the same set of behaviors. So a modeling display is the actual video that you are going to show to your trainees that they can learn the behavior from, or the behavior can be modeled by a person in front of them. So the modeling display is the depiction or display of the key behaviors that they need to learn. There should be certain components of the modeling display which would ensure an effective transfer of learning. One is that the display clearly presents the key behaviors and there aren't any distractions. कि आप जो उनको वीडियो प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, अगर उसके अंदर म्यूजिक बहुत जोर से बज रहा है तो वो, और अगर उनको बात ही समझ नहीं आ रही, तो आपकी लर्निंग जो है वो इफेक्ट होगी. सो योर modeling display should show those key behaviors and there shouldn't be any specific distractions. So the colors should not be very bright, and the music should not be very loud, and the person should be clearly speaking. And another thing is that the model should be credible. आप किसका कुकिंग शो देखेंगे? आप जिसको ज्यादा बेहतर कुक समझते हैं, आप उसका कुकिंग शो देखेंगे, क्योंकि आप जिस मॉडल को क्रेडिबल समझते हैं, आप उसका बिहेवियर लर्न करने के लिए you will be more motivated for that. So the model, it should be a credible person. वो एक ऐसा इंसान नहीं होना चाहिए जिसकी credibility लो हो, जिसको लोग उसके स्किल के लिए एक्सेप्ट करते ही ना. So you would watch the person that is credible. So the model should be credible. Then an overview of the key behaviors that should be presented, that before playing a video or before showing a particular display, you should present an overview of the key behaviors, that these are the behaviors that you should be prepared to see, observe, and then you should try to replicate them. Then each key behavior, it must be repeated. So the behavior that you want them to learn, it should not be displayed only once, but more than one time. So a number of times that should be repeated. First, it should be repeated separately, and then if it is possible, then it should be repeated as a whole. And then finally, a review of the key behavior should be included, that after the activity has completed, a review of the key behaviors should be included, so that people, they can organize their thinking after they have seen what needs to be observed. And another very important component of the modeling display is that the display should present both the negative aspects of the behavior and positive aspects of the behavior. For example, if you are making people learn about negotiation skills, you should display a situation in which a person is not able to effectively manage a particular negotiation or not able to manage or close a sales deal. You should present a situation जिसमें वो इंसान successful नहीं हो सका. And then you should present a situation in which the behavior has changed and the behavior now incorporates effective use of key behaviors, and those key behaviors are used to achieve success or used to achieve the desired results. So in a negotiation skills training program, एक आप डिस्प्ले ये दिखाएंगे, एक वीडियो ये दिखाएंगे जिसमें एक बंदा वो सक्सेसफुली लीड नहीं कर सका डिस्कशन को, नेगोशिएशन को, और दूसरी वीडियो आप ये दिखाएंगे जिसमें उसने सक्सेसफुली एक डील को क्लोज कर लिया, नेगोशिएशन कर ली, और उसमें जो डिफरेंस है की बिहेवियर्स में नेगोशिएशन का, वो आप क्लियरली आइडेंटिफाई भी कर सकेंगे कि दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट ही डिडंट डू एंड दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट ही डिड that made the difference in getting the deal closed and not getting the deal closed. So you must be able to show the positive aspects of the required behaviors as well as the negative aspects of the required behavior. So after you have prepared a modeling display and you have shown a modeling display to your trainings, then you have got to provide opportunities to practice. Opportunities to practice should include, first of all, having trainees cognitively rehearse and think about the key behaviors. So when you include a review of the key behaviors, you are actually giving them an opportunity to cognitively think about that. But then you should also give them opportunity in which they are allowed to sit for a certain period of time and think about what they have seen or write about what they have observed and what are the main elements of that entire activity. So they should be given the opportunity to cognitively revise and practice within their mind, not physically, but within their mind what they have observed. So first of all, you give them an opportunity to practice cognitively. And then you should place trainees in situations in which they have to use the key behaviors. So then you actually give them the situations in which they have to present those key behaviors. For example, you give them role plays in which they have to deal with angry customers, or you give them the situations in which they can actually replicate the key behavior and ask them to physically practice the key behaviors that were shown in the modeling display. Such kind of practice sessions, they should have some elements to make the learning more effective. One is that you should give them the opportunity to practice the key behavior several times. जितनी ज्यादा वो प्रैक्टिस करेंगे उतनी ज्यादा उनकी लर्निंग जो है वो एम्बेड हो जाएगी उनके बिहेवियर के अंदर. देन द एक्टिविटी शुड टेक प्लेस इन स्मॉल ग्रुप्स. You should not make very large groups because when they are being observed in a large audience, there are many different factors that reduce your performance, that reduce your ability to replicate those key behaviors. So it should be, the practice should take place in small groups. So people should know that they are being observed by others, but not by a very large number of people. And then these small groups that you should create, they should include people who understand the company and the job that is going to be performed. So it should be the same kind of people, most probably your colleagues who are going to work in the same environment. That kind of a group is going to be most effective because they understand the job, they understand the situation, they have been through the same training program, and now you have grouped them together to replicate those key behaviors. So such kind of practice sessions in which you are giving multiple opportunities to practice, you are giving these opportunities in a small group, and the group understands the company and the job. Such kind of practice sessions, they are going to be more beneficial, more effective for learning. And then finally, you have to make sure that transfer of training takes place. And for that, you need to carry out application planning. Application planning prepares trainees to use the key behaviors on the job. So application planning, it involves asking the trainees to prepare a written document जिसके अंदर वो सब सिचुएशंस आइडेंटिफाई करें जिनमें वो की बिहेवियर्स यूज कर सकते हैं. सो जब आपके एक ग्रुप के अंदर मुख्तलिफ लोग डिफरेंट सिचुएशंस आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे कि हम अपनी वर्क लाइफ में इस बिहेवियर को यहाँ यूज कर सकते हैं, और जब बहुत सारे लोग डिफरेंट सिचुएशंस आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे और फिर आपस में जब उसको शेयर करेंगे तो इससे उनका अवेयरनेस लेवल बढ़ जाएगा कि हम अपनी वर्क लाइफ में इतनी बहुत सारी सिचुएशंस के अंदर इन की बिहेवियर्स को, इन की स्किल्स को यूज करके अपनी परफॉर्मेंस को एनहांस कर सकते हैं. सो दैट इज वन वे ऑफ ensuring ट्रांसफर ऑफ ट्रेनिंग, दैट यू मेक पीपल अवेयर ऑफ विच सिचुएशंस दे कैन यूज द की बिहेवियर्स टू एनहांस their performance. Another way to improve transfer of training is to pair the trainees with each other with an understanding that they will communicate with each other. कि जब वो ट्रेनिंग से निकल के जाएं अपनी वर्क लाइफ में तो वो आपस में इन टच रहें, एक दूसरे के साथ कम्युनिकेट करें और वो एक दूसरे के साथ शेयर करें कि जो उन्होंने ट्रेनिंग में लर्न किया है वो किस हद तक उसको यूज कर रहे हैं और क्या उनको मुश्किलात दरपेश आ रही हैं उन स्किल्स को यूज करने में. और जब वो आपस में कोऑर्डिनेट करेंगे तो वो एक दूसरे को हेल्प भी कर सकेंगे, एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट भी कर सकेंगे और एक दूसरे से एनकरेजमेंट भी ले सकेंगे. So when you pair up people with the understanding that they will communicate, it may also enhance the transfer of training through that has taken place through behavior modeling. So today we have talked about 3 kinds of training methods. We have discussed business games, we have discussed role plays and behavior modeling. So this ends our discussion about the hands-on training methods. In the next session, we are going to talk about another category of training methods, which is called group building methods. So today we are going to conclude our session now. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.